Well. Siege Camp was really cooking with this update, you guys. So for those of you that didn't catch the dev stream on Tuesday, we got an in-depth look at all the changes coming with update 59. And as somebody who's always preaching to remain cautiously optimistic and to not overhype each one of these updates, this to me looks like one of the best updates to come to Foxhole in a very long time. I'm talking about major infantry quality of life changes, changes to mechanics for tanks, new melee weapons, new tanks in general, and so much more that I haven't even mentioned. We're gonna go over the dev stream and cover all the exciting changes that are coming with update 59. I'll also include some additional tidbits from the recent dev Q&A over on the Foxhole subreddit, and of course, I'll end the video with my overall impressions of the update. So with that, let's dive straight into it. So you can see on the screen here, but the team has been hard at work creating a few patches both for the Colonials and Wardens. In addition to the 2 patches you see on screen, they have a few other ones that are going to be created and released alongside these. The specific release date will be sometime later this year, and more information will probably be shared on the official Foxhole Discord. Honestly, these look pretty dope. Might get myself a few and maybe give some away to the community on a upcoming video. All right, we move straight into the infantry update, you guys. This is the main focus for update 59. These changes have been long requested by the community for several years now. I know I've shared a few pain points and I've brought these up in streams and videos over the years I've done YouTube, but I'm happy to say the devs have listened to player feedback and implemented a large portion of the quality of life updates we've been begging for. Starting with weapon shouldering. This will help address the issue with shadow dancers who are able to have insane accuracy even though they're running around and using all their stamina up. Now players with low stamina will take longer to shoulder their weapon before firing. There's also a dynamic stagger system which is going to be introduced, which basically boils down to the more damage you cause to an enemy player, the more staggered they'll be from that shot. So as an example, a player shot by a pistol will be staggered significantly less than a player shot by an Argenti or Katara. Vaulting improvements, guys. Holy fuck. Now you can hold down the spacebar and your character will attempt to vault whenever they're able to. We no longer have to spam and punch the fuck out of our spacebar. Machine gun suppression has also been improved, so you now lose accuracy when suppressed by these types of weapons. Basically, the bloom from your weapon will slowly spread the more you're suppressed and fired at by machine gun type weapons. There have been some changes to infantry encumbrance and stamina changes as well. More on that later in the video. But next we have vehicles getting muddy. Yes, now vehicles will be getting muddy as they drive through puddles, and you're able to remove the mud, which is a debuff, by throwing water on the vehicles. Stealth has also been changed a bit. Now when you fire from stealth, your player model will be shown for just a brief moment, and then you'll go back into stealth mode. Green ash and gas masks. So the green ash grenade used to stagger players when caught in their cloud, and it would make it near impossible to escape. But now you can run away from the green ash cloud without being staggered, and the gas mask itself has had a change to its encumbrance, which has been reduced. The way green ash works now is it will slowly tick down your gas mask filter before it affects your health, and if you're not wearing a gas mask or filter, your health will slowly deplete while you're in the cloud. Oh boy, guys, so grenade range and grenade drops. So for some reason, the devs hate the Colonials, and they've decided to nerf the range on grenades considerably. However, at the same time, because the devs have a sense of humor, grenades are now going to explode if players that are cooking the grenade get downed or killed. So for all you players out there hiding in your trenches, be a bit cautious if your buddy next to you decides to pull a grenade. All right, next we have infantry gameplay changes. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into these changes, but before we go any further, I just gotta say, man, God help poor Max, who is trying to explain how stamina is changing in this new update. That man made it seem like he was explaining thermonuclear physics to a bunch of chimps with all the different graphs he was showing. No shade being tossed to him. I thought it was pretty funny reading chat while he was explaining this stuff, but here's my best attempt at deciphering what Max was saying. So basically, stamina changes have made it a key resource to manage in order to be successful in game. Stamina now has a greater impact on sprint speed, keeping the weapon shouldering times fast and making you more resistant to green ash attacks. The goal was to make the weapons feel more distinct as well due to the dynamic stagger and weapon shouldering stat changes. Player encumbrance will have more of an impact now on stamina. The way encumbrance works now is it increases the speed at which you lose stamina, and it slows down your stamina recovery speed. There is a baseline amount of weight players can carry without feeling any sort of negative effects, which is being tested currently on the dev branch. The idea here is that the dev teams are promoting a more cover-to-cover type gameplay, sprinting short distances in order to maximize your loadout with this new system. Vehicle encumbrance has also been tweaked, where now muddy vehicles will gain weight and slow down their speed. Overall, though, these changes shouldn't be a major impact to Logi players. Next, we have just general other changes with this update, which are also pretty exciting. First one being the squad leader arrow range has been expanded to the entire region, so no longer does it apply to just a small distance. There's also been a change to the elevation aim adjustment, so it's easier to distinguish between aiming at a player that's in a trench versus the trench itself. That's a insanely positive change. And then lastly, we have a map search feature, which is a huge help for new players. Now you can find the exact town or region your group is operating in without guessing or looking across the entire map. Next, we have custom loadouts. So with Update 59, you'll be able to actually create your own custom loadout and select them at bases to auto-equip instead of manually selecting each piece of equipment. Nothing else to say here other than looking forward to making my Xing 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 loadout. We're now moving into some of the bigger changes with this update, starting off with infantry, anti-tank, and tank changes. So tanks will now have aim stability that gunners are going to need to consider. This is something a lot of players have been asking for in order to avoid World of Tank scenarios where infantry can't really do shit against a tank line. And this is great because it gives infantry a chance to deal some damage against the tank line instead of getting their guts rearranged by incoming 40mm rounds. AT rifles have also been changed, where they have a special suppression stat that reduces accuracy on tanks and vehicles. This suppression effect is similar to how machine guns will bloom the accuracy when suppressing infantry. AT rifles are also no longer going to bounce. They will always deal a small amount of damage, again, very small amount of damage. The damage they deal is also only against the armor of the tank itself and not the health pool of the tank. So AT rifles are great at ripping armor apart, but to kill tanks, you'll need something that does damage to the tank's health, like another tank or an AT grenade. All right, next we go into the new AT weapons. We're starting off with the Warden AT rifle, which is the Booker Greyhound. It's got a 2-shot burst. Nothing else to say here. The next AT rifle is a Warden weapon called the Starly Heavy Storm Rifle. This is a fully automatic AT rifle. Next, we have 2 AT rifles for the Colonials. The first one being a sniper rifle called the Quick Hatch. This is going to be probably a great rifle, not only for anti-tank, but for infantry alike. And then the last AT rifle for the Colonials is the Dawn, which is a 3-shot burst AT rifle. And the last AT weapon is actually a change from the White Ash. The Wardens are now going to have the Varsi anti-tank grenade, which can be launched from a rifle and has a high change to track vehicles. I think that's supposed to say high chance to track vehicles. All right, moving along, we have some facility changes, you guys. So now we have a new factory for all you masochists to enjoy. It is the Infantry Arms Factory. So think of this like an MPF, but for infantry-based weapons. These create crates of specialized equipment like mortars and the new anti-tank rifles. Yes, by the way, you guys, all the AT rifles that we just saw can only be made in these factories. You can pull the crates made from the factories via a shipping container, and there's also been a new small gauge container cart called the Stow Wheel, which will be used to transport crates as well. All right, we have some melee combat changes, you guys. So we have a new quick attack, block, and charge attack that are going to be added to the game. This changes the damage output based on what type of attack you're doing, and all of these cost stamina to perform. There are also new melee weapons included, which are the Colonial Dagger, which looks pretty fucking mint, and then the Warding Raiding Club, which I like to call the Ooga Booga Club. Bayonets have also been updated with these new attacks. They can't block, but they can still perform attacks while sprinting. That's it for the melee combat changes. Next, we go into fortification changes. So all bunkers have husks now. I don't know why devs have a hard-on for husks, but the idea is for infantry to use these areas for elevated cover. There have also been changes to how howitzers work. So now only one Howie garrison will be engaged per arty hit. Basically, the more arty shells that the fortification is hit by, the more howitzers will aggro to the enemy artillery. Tripods and havoc charges are now able to be placed inside buildings, so we can use machine guns within buildings. That's awesome. I am wondering if we're able to actually put machine guns and tripods into bunker pieces that have windows in them so that we can shoot out. That's something that could be a new meta right there, but we'll just have to wait and see in the dev branch when people test that out. Anti-infantry mines have also been added, and you can also create entire minefields using a shovel. These minefields can't be removed by a wrench. You're going to have to use either demolition or high explosive damage, so you'll have to use a tremola or a hydro whisper to get rid of them. Or if you want, you can just bonsai rush the minefield and just clear it that way. Feel free to take a look at all the points on screen here. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I'm super excited to see how these anti-infantry mines will work and how effective they'll be as well. All right, guys, next we have a medic update, aka the partisan update, which for some people, I think they were a little stood offish on these changes. Personally, I'm excited to test some of these out. Starting off with medical structures can now be used as spawn points and do not require a CV. So in theory, you could create a medical structure spawn point deep behind enemy lines, and as long as you're bringing fallen or critically wounded soldiers to that spawn point, you'll be able to continue spawning there and harass the enemy from the backline. And let me just tell you, you can bet your sweet bippy I'm going to be creating backline partisan hubs with this mechanic.
Mark my fucking words.
Also, recovered critically wounded soldiers will be a stand-in for soldier supplies at these structures, which I've already said. There's also some additional changes to the amount of respawns you'll receive from wounded soldiers, as well as stockpiles for medical related items at these medical structures. So certain structures will give you more respawns, others will give you less. There's also a new bunker piece called the medical room, which has been created. Not really sure how applicable this is going to be if Logi can reach that bunker base, but in situations where Logi is cut off, a medical room could actually be beneficial for allowing players to spawn without needing soldier supplies. All right, and lastly, we have some new tanks and vehicles being added with this update. So starting off, we have the Warden Gallagher. This is the base model cruiser tank for the Wardens, which has a 30mm repeater cannon and a 12.7 machine gun as well. This is the base model tank you'll use to eventually upgrade to an Outlaw. Next, we have a new Colonial Assault tank called the Nemesis. This tank comes equipped with a 68mm cannon and a hull-mounted grenade launcher. We're also getting a first aid train car. So similar to what I discussed earlier in the medic update, this counts as a medical structure, which you can set your spawn to, and you can submit critically wounded soldiers here, which will take the place of soldier supplies for people to spawn at. But we'll just have to wait and see how effective this is in the live war. And that's it, you guys. That's all the new stuff covered in the dev stream. Oh, wait. All right, so it's not much of a surprise anymore, but yes, planes are coming to Foxhole in the summer of 2025. And I gotta say, deadass, I'm trading in my bayonet and upgrading to a kamikaze pilot ASAP. To say I was cutting diamonds when this shit was shown is an understatement. As somebody who loved the White Whale and leading naval invasions, this is gonna open up so many cool invasion opportunities. I'm looking forward to doing kamikaze dive runs in a bomber with my paratrooping gremlins in the back. All right, guys, next we have the dev Q&A highlights from the Foxhole subreddit. I just put a few interesting responses on screen here, so feel free to pause the video and take a look at those. Not much else to say here, but if you're interested in seeing some more responses, I've included a link to the dev Q&A down in the description below. And that's it for the update, you guys. Now for my final thoughts on this update. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you guys, normally I'm very, very skeptical and hesitant when these updates come out, mainly because from what I've seen in every other update so far, there's always something broken or mismanaged or implemented in a way that the devs didn't really intend. Essentially, there ends up being a situation where two things get broken when one thing gets fixed. Now, that being said, because this update is heavily emphasizing quality of life changes, which is something I've been asking for, something that I've personally wanted to see more of with the dev team and their releases, I'm super, super enthusiastic about this update. And I think now is going to be the best time ever for new players to get into Foxhole. So if you're somebody that's on the fence thinking about getting it, or you're just not sure if this is your type of game, there's definitely no harm in giving it a try. And honestly, if you want to wait until the holidays start and you get it on sale, which I would highly recommend, do that. But enough shilling the game. Let's go into my thoughts on the actual changes and updates. Now, plenty of people in the Discord have asked me, how do I feel about the bayonet changes? Bayonet nerf, shadow dance nerf, blah, blah, blah. Personally, I'm not a shadow dancer. I can't even say it with a straight face. Anyway, personally, guys, I'm not really broken up or anything like that about the changes to the bayonet and how melee combat is going to work. Honestly, I'm excited for more nuance. I want to be able to block an attack. I want to be able to do a quick light attack or a heavy attack and mix up like that. So I personally am super excited to see that change. And it's going to be really interesting to see that knockdown effect for players that have low stamina if they get hit. So all that to say, I'm very positive about those melee changes. You're still going to see me shing, 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 boys. I'm either going to be stabbing cunts with the bayonet or I'm going to be stabbing cunts with the knife. Either way, a bitch is getting stabbed. In terms of some of the new changes with regards to stamina and shouldering, overall, I'm pretty positive about the shouldering mechanic. We're going to see how that kind of plays out in the live war. And then in terms of endurance and stamina and player encumbrance again, as a player who usually doesn't try to hit 100% encumbrance, I feel like it's not really going to affect me too much. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. In general, I do like the idea of stamina being more impactful to infantry gameplay. I think the changes they've implemented so far make a lot of sense, specifically with how encumbrance changes your stamina regen rate as well as the rate you lose stamina. Again, from a partisan perspective, I think that new mechanic with medical structures is going to be super cool. Now that I don't have the white whale anymore, I feel like the new meme for me to do is just to make a base behind enemy lines, try and get a bunch of colonials to join me, and see what kind of shit we can get into. So yeah, like I said, best bet I'm going to be doing that next war. And then in terms of the new tanks and whatnot, always love a new tank for the colonials. New Warden base tank, that's great for them. Yeah, love the tanks. Love the new weapons. I'm actually interested for the first time in trying that sniper. Really curious to see how these AT guns are gonna affect whether I choose them over rifle or anything like that. I mean, if they're doing damage to infantry and armor alike, I feel like there's an edge to go with them versus like an Argenti or something like that. But anyway, like I said, we'll see. We'll end up seeing how these weapons perform in Dev Branch, and ultimately, you know, I'll give them a shot. I'm really buck hard for that sniper, and I'm really interested in how that is going to shape infantry engagements on the front line with armor. And lastly, you guys, I mean, I'll touch on the air update one more time, but goddamn, they really got me with this one, man. Like, holy shit. I'm not even kidding, guys. I don't think I'm gonna spend a lot of time. Again, we'll see how much, you know, planes cost and all that, grinding for a fighter or a bomber. But shit, dude, if I can make a fucking flying fortress and have paratroopers flying out the back, dude, I am absolutely gonna do that as a solo. I don't even care. Fuck it, dude. I will bring back the gremlins, and we are gonna do a flight school for gremlins and just fucking fly people to the front, paratroop their asses, and when we're done paratrooping them, we're gonna dive bomb our fucking planes into the town hall. It's gonna be like 9/11. But anyway, guys, that's my take on the recent dev stream and everything that's in update 59. I really liked it, you guys. I'm excited. Again, devs, great work on all these quality of life changes. We all appreciate the time and attention you guys are putting in, and of course, listening to the community feedback. But I think we're going to end the video there, you guys. Again, thank you all so much for watching. Again, super excited to get back into making Foxhole content on the channel. If you liked the video and are interested in seeing more Foxhole related content, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Again, I have a Discord channel down below. Feel free to join and chat with me and some of the other gremlins. I also post whenever I go live, which the link to the Twitch channel is listed there. I go live every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'll be streaming Foxhole every one of those days except for Sunday, which is meant for Dark and Darker. But that's it, everyone. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Mustard on my bean hoe, Debo, sucking niggas dicks, I'm a free throw. Damn nigga, throw the ass back, let me see some. I just got two niggas butts and they just wanna see cum. What's up with these faggot ass niggas tryna see Compton? Got two big booty niggas, fuck it, I don't need condoms. Booty hoe wet, that shit wetter than a fucking fountain. Finna break this nigga's booty cheeks down like John Stockton.